Throughout the years, we've seen Destiny evolve from being a 4v4 game mode to a double primary system to what we have today. Now you might be asking yourself, how did we get here? Well, it wasn't easy. For starters, we've had some broken metas in Destiny 2, from the Prometheus lens being broken, aka Laser Tag Weekend, to the Lord of Wolves reigning supreme in the Crucible. But what if I told you that the most broken times came from exotics? Well, today, we're going to be covering the most broken exotics in Destiny 2 history. Now sit back, relax, and get ready to see some of the most disgusting exotics ever created in Destiny 2. Our first exotic brings us back all the way to May 8th, 2018. With the launch of Warmind, players were introduced to the Wormhusk crown. Unlike the current version we have today of the Wormhusk, back in Season 3, during the Warmind expansion, Wormhusk was nasty. You can say that it reigned supreme in PvP, thus making a lot of players choose to run the Hunter class. Unlike the version we have today, where you get a small bump in health, back in Season 3, the Wormhusk was notorious for not only being able to give you a small bump to health, but also begin health regeneration. Unlike today, where the Hunter's dodge is tied to their mobility stat, back in Season 3, we had something called Paragon mods, which players could equip to their armor sets, thus bringing their cooldown of their class ability, thus allowing hunters to get a 10-second dodge. This isn't even considering the perk Focused Breathing, which is what a lot of players ran, thus giving you an even faster cooldown. As you can tell, the Wormhusk was bad, and this just amplified things. Any which way you slice it, players were utilizing the Wormhusk for several reasons. You get into a gunfight, you take damage, go ahead and dodge, and you gain a bump in health and begin regeneration. And if your enemy wasn't a hunter and using the Wormhusk, you pretty much won that engagement. Now, I'd be lying if I said that I didn't use this exotic. I did, but I ran it with marksman dodge and paired it alongside a weapon with kill clip. After winning that gunfight, even if I took a little bit of damage, the Wormhusk would negate all of that damage and give me a health bump and health regeneration, all at the same time activating the perk kill clip. If you played at all during Season 3 and you're still around today playing the game, congratulations, you made it through one of the worst metas in Destiny history. But what if I told you that this wasn't even the tip of the iceberg? Before we get into what I like to call the dark ages of Destiny 2, now a word from today's sponsor. Have you ever wanted to create your own world? Shoot, maybe you've seen all these fun apps on the Play Store and wonder how they're made. Well, Buildbox is a game development software that requires no previous coding or design experience. In fact, the Buildbox platform has been used to create several of the top 100 games currently available on the App Store. If you're wondering, here are some of the most popular games on the App Store that were all made using Buildbox. Now, Buildbox allows you to easily build, preview, and publish a variety of games, from puzzle to free runners to even shooters, and that's just scratching the surface, guys. Buildbox comes with many features, from Game Wizard, which allows you to easily create your first game, which utilizes the template and asset library, which you can find several templates and drag and drop assets which can help you speed up your game development. Now, don't worry, the asset store is constantly being updated with tons of free and premium assets. Okay, but where do I start? Well, Buildbox has different versions, from Buildbox Classic, which allows you to make 2D games, to Buildbox 3, which allows you to make both 2D and 3D games. The best part about it, it's all free. Once you subscribe to Buildbox Plus and Buildbox Pro, you can publish your apps on the Play Store and App Store to easily start making money. You get the best of both worlds, a way to create your own app and make money, which in my book is amazing. If you're interested in creating your own app and making money, then you can download Buildbox for free and get started making your own game using my link down below in the description and the pinned comment. Thank you again for Buildbox for sponsoring today's video. With lots of players on the edge after the Wormhusk crown era, players got a dose of what I like to call the dark ages of Destiny 2, aka the Season of Pain. On September 4th, 2018, and the release of the Forsaken expansion, players were introduced to the big four of PvP, the Guizen Vest, the Ursa Furiosa, the Shards of Galanor, and one exotic that almost got me to quit playing Destiny 2 altogether, the notorious OneEyed Mask. If you were a hunter in PvP and you wanted to have a super for half the game, the Guizen Vest was your go-to exotic, pairing it alongside the Spectra Blade Super. With the Spectra Blade Super already being busted with the launch of Forsaken, pairing it alongside the Guizen Vest gave players the ability to extend the super every time they went invisible. Now, if there was ever a time for Sentinel Titans to get their place in the spotlight, it was during Forsaken. With the exotic Ursa Furiosa, Titans had the ability to get super after super, and it only required one thing: to activate your Sentinel shield and block. The amount of damage you block will give you super energy back in return. But okay, Hunters didn't only have one broken exotic during the dark ages of Destiny. They had a second one, the Shards of Galanor. By activating your super, every kill you got with it would return super energy back. Now, all three previous exotics required one thing: your super. But our final exotic on the list really made people hate this game. We have the OneEyed Mask. Now, this exotic had a lot of things going for it. For starters, every time you killed a marked target, you gained an overshield. But what if I told you that you also gained an overshield in your super? Yes, guys, every time you killed a marked target in your super, it would give you an overshield, thus making Titans and the OneEyed Mask one of the most used characters and exotics in the first few seasons of Forsaken. Bungie quickly noticed, and I use that lightly, quickly, and they made several changes, thus dialing back each one of these exotics. If you played at all during the Forsaken era, the Dark Ages, hats off to you if you're still playing the game today, because this is one of the most broken eras in Destiny 2 history. Fast forward several years later to March 10th, 2020, Season of the Worthy, aka Season of the Reflection. And it's not reflection like looking back on prior mistakes, but it's reflection as in the Age of the Reversal, aka the Age of the Antaeus Wards. Being able to reflect anything at your enemy is insane, from their super ability to even rockets. It's as if every player who used this exotic in PvP had a Uno reversal card in their pocket every time they slid around the map. The Antaeus Wards had a short-lived time in the spotlight, only lasting one entire season. Bungie dialed back these exotics for good reason. Continuing on our journey, we fast forward to June 9th, 2020 with the launch of Season of Arrivals, with the Chaos Reach subclass being one of the most underutilized subclasses in Destiny 2 PvP. This all changed with the exotic leg armor, the Geomag Stabilizers. Now, this exotic allowed players to generate super energy by simply sprinting around the map. Now, there is a caveat with this exotic. You can only charge the last 25% of your super by sprinting around the map. But here's the huge benefit that most players forgot, is that with the Chaos Reach subclass, players can deactivate their super whenever, thus saving a good chunk of super energy, allowing players to get 4 to 5 supers a game. Bungie took several seasons to dial this exotic back, lasting all the way up to the end of Season 15, Season of the Lost. If the Geomag Stabilizers lasted several seasons, our next exotic only lasted several days. With the launch of Season 15, Season of the Lost, a lot of hunters decided to break dance in PvP. Alright, let me explain. With the launch of Season of the Lost, Bungie introduced us to the Radiant Dance Machines. This exotic allowed hunters to multi-dodge near an enemy. And if you had the mod distribution, this allowed you to gain 50% of your super just on one sequence of multi-dodging. This exotic was short-lived, and Bungie almost immediately nerfed this exotic. I believe this exotic only lasted 2 days before Bungie took a hammer to it, and in those 2 days was the first time I saw breakdancing hunters all throughout PvP. This brings us to Season 16, Season of the Risen, and yes guys, hunters were given the ability to nerf enemy players. Okay, let me explain. With the release of Season 16, hunters were introduced to the brand new exotic, the Renewal Grasp. And this exotic functioned in 2 different ways. When allies are inside your dust field, they take reduced damage. And when enemies are inside your dust field, they deal reduced damage, aka nerfing the enemy player. During Season 16, if you stepped into PvP at all, especially Trials, you saw a Stasis Hunter and they were utilizing the Renewal Grasp. But hey, it wasn't all that bad. What if I told you that Titans also had a broken exotic, the Lordly Splendor Helm? Even though people told Bungie ahead of time that this exotic was gonna break PvP, in Bungie fashion, they decided to let it loose into the wild, and that was a huge mistake. You saw nothing but hunters and Titans through this entire season. It may have taken a while, but Bungie finally put the nail in the coffin for both of these exotics. They're good in their respective elements, but not broken like before. As we leave the Renewal Grasp and the Lordly Splendor Helm back in Season 16, this brings us into Season of the Haunted, aka Season of the Ghost, another hunter meta. If you've ever hated Invis before, this season pushed you over the edge. Not only is Invis difficult to play against, but when hunters utilized Omnioculus, they took reduced damage. As broken as this exotic was, you mainly saw it in Trials of Osiris. Enemies would run 3 of these, make their team invis, and have damage reduction. After several nerfs, this exotic was dialed back a bit. It's still very deadly, but not as bad as when it was in Season 17. As much as I want to deny it, it seems that hunters are always being blessed with the most busted exotics in Destiny 2. Yes guys, we have another broken exotic, the Gerafalcon's Halberd. Now this exotic was released in Season 18, Season of Plunder. With the exotic perk See Me Feel Me, your weapon gains a bonus to damage briefly after you emerge from being invisible. This exotic immediately flew to number 1 for every hunter out there in PvP. Being able to deal bonus damage after emerging from being invisible is a great benefit. You'll see this exotic in 6v6, but mainly it reigns supreme in Trials of Osiris. And currently this exotic is still roaming around in PvP today. I believe Bungie is going to nerf it pretty soon, and this will be another exotic for the history books. Look, as much as I want to hate on Bungie for broken exotics, I can honestly say that they've gotten better over the years. Unlike our Forsaken era, the Dark Ages, throughout the years, Bungie has dialed back a lot of these exotics. From the beginning of our Wormhusk Forsaken era, where exotics were extremely broken, to the current era of exotics we have that are mainly just annoying to play against. Bungie is really trying to make PvP a better place for all players. But let me know down in the comment section, did I miss any exotics? And also, did you play during any of these seasons? If you did, I'd love to know down in the comment section how you kept your sanity. If you enjoyed the brief history lesson of all the broken exotics in Destiny 2, then do me a huge favor and drop a like on this video. If you're new to the channel, hi, I'm BRAVExHERO and I cover everything Destiny 2 related. So if you want to see more content from me, click that subscribe button and don't forget to turn on all notifications. Thank you so much for watching today's video. You guys have a good one and I will see you in the next video.